Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Habibis new episode. Three Arab game developers drinking good Arab. There's two- I will get this right once. I swear I will get
We'll get
one
there.
time. One time I'll get it. One time I'll
One
get it.
time. One
One
time.
time I'll get it. Ah.
Maybe in 2024. That's our year.
Oh, this is great. This is great. I really nailed that one. Well, a special episode. We're going to be talking about the year because we're getting towards the end of the year. It is a big episode. It's going to be a two-parter because there's a lot of things to talk about this year. Intros. I'm your host, Rami Ismail,
And I'm Osama Darius.
And I'm Fauzi Mesmar.
and we want to do the Habibis top 10. We want to talk about the year in games. There's so much that has happened in our industry, in the medium, and we have a lot to talk about. We have some time today. We found a block of time where all three of us were available.
We have to do the Habibis top 10. We
And we
can't
have to
miss
do the
that.
Habibis top 10. We can't go to we can't
Especially in
avoid
this
that.
year. So
There's
I
so many games.
I was reading that I think it was Axios that published this data. This year we have 25 titles with a Metacritic of 5 plus. So this is the most titles that we've had a
Wow.
Metacritic 90 plus in 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow. That is impressive.
I can believe it. You know, I always think of what was my favorite years in gaming, and I think my last favorite year in terms of just like games release was probably 2010. That
Oh,
was
wow.
a good year. Because it was the year of all the two games. It was the year of
Yeah.
all the. It was the rule of twos. Like it was the year when we all confirmed that second games in a series are great. Like Mass Effect 2. There was I think there was Gears of War. There was an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, probably.
Yeah.
There was all that stuff, and a lot of series that I love were there. Split Second and Alan Wake, and like all of those things started there. So 2010 for me, like 2009, 2010 was really big. But I think since then, for me, there's not been a year like that until now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
For me, this is like the best. Like my favorite year in gaming is 1998.
Oh yeah, okay, but that's an unfair year, Fauzi.
That's an insane year. Ocarina
That-
of Time, Metal Gear, Resident Evil
Yeah.
2,
Yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, Street Fighter Alpha 3.
Oh.
But that's not a
Fallout 2,
good year, Fauzi.
StarCraft,
That's a foundational year. That was
Half-Life.
like a different games industry before 1998 and
Yeah.
after 1998.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
but still, like for me, it's 1995. That's the year.
Yeah,
that
but you're much
Chrono-
older than us, so that makes sense.
Wait,
that was
what's
halfway
Fauzi-
through my gaming journey.
What's
Me and
in
Fauzi
95?
were
95
not.
was Tekken 2 and Yoshi's Island, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yes, and Chrono Trigger
And Chrono
and
Trigger.
the Street Fighter Alpha, the first
Yeah.
like where they brought back Alpha,
Okay.
and there was Tactics Ogre that came out that year.
I just want to point out I was 7.
Soul Edge came out that year.
I could barely speak.
But those are nice games, but you can't compare that to 98. Like,
I don't know. Wait,
This episode is going to be a year comparison instead of a
Warcraft
games
2.
comparison.
Warcraft 2 came out that year.
StarCraft came out in 98. Ocarina
Yeah.
of Time. We're
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's
The
something.
only thing you can say is 97 had Final Fantasy 7,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
also big, but it also had Gran Turismo and GoldenEye and all those things, because that's sort of like, and I think MDK was also 97.
Ooh, I love that game.
Wait,
Yeah.
when
The
did
game
Final
was great.
Fantasy 6 come out? Because that year takes it just for Final Fantasy 6.
Was that
I think it was
94?
96, 94, maybe 94. That's the year. Whichever year Final Fantasy 6 came out, that's the year.
That was
Yep,
94.
94.
I was
Yeah.
5.
Yeah,
I was in
changed my
elementary.
vote to yeah. You were in elementary. I was in high school.
I just joined elementary school. I was in first grade.
They let you in. Good for you.
Yeah. I did not speak a word of English.
And yet you still play video games, right?
Yeah, sometimes we didn't have money for video games, man. Like I got my first computer when we were 6, so I think the only game I played at that point was Ski Free.
I don't even know that game. I'm
That
looking
was
it up.
that MS DOS game where you had to ski down a hill,
I don't think I've
and there
played that
was a
game.
yeti that would run after you and try to capture you.
Wow.
It was
That
Wow.
that
great.
that was foundational for you. That's why you throw Yetis in so many games, right,
Yep,
Remy?
yep. That's how it happened. That's how it happened. Anyway, we don't have time to talk about 2 decades ago
All right, all right.
because 2023 made us want to talk about the best years ever in video games, and I think that says something
And because it's close. It's
because
a
it's
lot of
close.
good video games that came out this year.
It really was.
It's
It
not
really
just
was.
good video games, exceptional video games.
Yeah, a lot of that. I mean, it's
Yes.
a strange year, right? Because it's both a very good year and a very bad year. Like in terms of games, it's been incredible. In terms of industry, it has been rough. There's been a lot of things going on that
Yeah.
are difficult.
Economy
And
around the world's been tough this year.
economy's been bad. Industry has been bad.
Yeah.
Like you look at websites like video game layoffs, and you just look at the whole thing. It's just it is unparalleled. I think that we've seen this level of effect on the people making games.
It's
The whole
heartbreaking.
Unity debacle in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, Stadia shut down in January this year.
Yep. Yep. But yeah, no. I mean, like
That was
strangely,
this year. Oh
that
my
was this
god.
year.
Can't believe that. Crazy.
Isn't that the weird thing? Because in terms of games, the year went real fast, and in terms of games industry, this is the longest year in 3 decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I mean, like
it.
this year was like the first and like officially in person GDC since the pandemic.
Yep.
That's true. That's true. The one before was kind of a shell of a
Yeah,
GDC.
it kind of
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
The company that I started thinking of as my arch nemesis sadly closed.
Oh no.
When we
Versus.
started Flambeer back in 2010, there was a Dutch independent studio called Ronimo Games, Robot Ninja Monkey, and Ronimo Games was the big one. And me and JW, when we started Flambeer back in the days, we were the scrappy indies, and we thought they were too big and corporate with their 12 employees back at the time. That was kind of the largest thing we had in the Netherlands to compare ourselves to. Guerrilla Games was way too big, so Ronimo was our arch nemesis, even though they were right across from us.
Oh, they did
Uh,
swords and soldiers and
yeah,
awesome
Swords and
mods.
Soldiers. Yeah, they were a lovely studio. I mean, honestly, it's one of those studios where you look at it and you look at what they were doing and when they were doing it and how they were doing it, and they were always doing cool stuff. But the
Yeah,
fact that they managed to make it this far is honestly the most impressive thing about Ronimo because they never went for the easy thing.
yeah,
They
that's
always
true.
took like very strange, very risky choices and paid off for them. And then it didn't. But, of course it was 2023 that killed them because anything that isn't stable died this
Yeah,
year. Like,
unfortunately.
and honestly, that is in some ways very similar to 2010. Like, when you think about 2010, for me, the way I think of 2010 was it was the rise of indie and the death of B games,
Oh, that makes sense. That's true.
right?
Yeah.
Because B games existed as this category of games where you would like pay like $20 and instead of like Destruction Derby, you'd get like Fatal Racing, or
Yeah,
instead of like Wipeout, you'd get like Killer Loop, or
yeah.
you know,
It was the hold me over game until the game I
yeah,
really want comes out. But
or
then
until
when
I can afford it. Yeah,
yeah, but when then indie games and even mobile games at the same time started coming up, then you could actually have quality smaller experiences
yep.
to hold you over. And I
So
get
that
that.
just killed that entire part of the industry, and it was really fast. One moment B games existed, and then they didn't, and that was around 2010 as well. So in that regard, 2023 is very similar. Anything that isn't super stable fell over
I
this year.
remember that hit the industry really hard in Australia because I was in New Zealand at
Yeah,
the time.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Australia just crashed, didn't
and
it?
yeah, the Australian industry just crashed around then. So many studios shut down. So many
It went
Australian
from like
developers were basically all over the world.
90% of the workforce were gone, like from
Yeah.
3,000 employees in Australia to 300 in was it a year or two? Like really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
quickly.
I mean, Australia, sadly, right now is having a really rough time as well. I really think this is sort of like a similar wave to back then, just at a very different scope and skill because the industry has grown so much.
I'm predicting that things will get better, and not just because I'm an optimist.
Inshallah.
I actually have been reading about finances and investments and markets way more than I ever have before, which is not a lot because I never used to learn about it before, but it's still way more than I ever did before. And there's
Someone
this
opened the Wikipedia article and went like, "I'm ahead now."
what is
But
money?
yeah, Influence that, huh?
there, jokes aside,
Yeah.
economists are saying that the reason that all of this is happening. I mean, there are a lot of like you could go into micro and
Hmm.
find a lot of micro reasons, but the macro reason this is all happening is because everyone expected a recession and acted accordingly. And this is one of the first times in history where when the governments of the world are trying to fight inflation, it didn't result in a like full scale recession. This is kind of half artificial. It's half just a reaction to what people thought would happen, and it's a little bit mysterious. I shared an article with y'all on Investopedia called "About That Recession We Were Bracing For," and this is economists talking to economists. This is like that's the target audience is not mainstream here. It is money people talking to money people, and what they're saying is that they're expecting next year to be on an upswing, at least to flat rate, but on an upswing, because the basically the whole industry, the money industry, was bracing for an impact that never hit,
Right.
and the only impact we felt is them reacting to that bracing, like their flinch.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
I hope
the
they're right.
I hope so. I mean, the expectation I've heard is that it will stay very tight for the next year. 2024 does not seem like it'll be good for investment at the moment, but we do expect sort of like a mid-year investment boom,
Yeah, mid year.
at least in games anyway.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
it
They're
will,
not talking about games. They're talking about
yeah,
in general, and games usually kind of follows a little bit behind, a little bit late. So
yeah. So it'll be interesting. Like
Yeah.
it's a strange year. Like it's a bad year. Anything that wasn't super stable went down. Like I mean, League of Geeks went from like being in great health to
yeah,
being, like losing an
layoffs.
entire team in a game in like what looks like no time. Like there was
Yeah,
no indication that this was going to happen. Unity effectively having to admit that they were going to collapse. Like I think in game specifically, there's been a lot of overinvestment
yeah,
during COVID. Like a lot of people went like, "Well, games are going to be forever the big thing now," and then we are a big thing, but not that big. Um,
And,
things like Embracer overinvesting, like
yeah,
and outside of like recession impacts, also like because this is recent on it, just give a shout out to our friends at Insomniac Games
yeah,
yeah,
who just recently suffered like a criminal data breach, basically,
yeah,
with so much information got leaked, including employee data, which is like the worst part of this.
yeah,
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, shout out to those guys. Like they're
yeah. Everybody at
caught. It's a
Insomniac,
really terrible thing that happened, and I hope the criminals get caught and
Yeah,
get brought into justice.
yeah,
our hearts go out to you.
yeah. What a awful way also to just end the year,
Especially
and
when they have
especially
such an amazing game that came out this
Yeah,
year.
right, like
yeah,
Spider-Man 2, like incredible.
yeah,
And then this is how you end the year. Like, I've been talking to some folks there and it's just, very, very sad.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
leaks generally are bad. This is not a leak. This is a criminal cyber attack
yeah,
Yeah, it was a
with a
Gladio
leak.
attack.
Like that's even worse.
Yeah,
it's even worse.
yeah, yeah.
Like even when leaks happen, generally, like this is on a different level, but like when GTA 6 got leaked and the fans saw it and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't look good," because they're judging a unfinished early game to what they expect as a game. It shows one thing, a little bit of a tangent, that we also need to do a better job communicating to the market of how games look at the very beginning of it, because the same thing happened when Wolverine was leaked with the Insomniac thing. Like I saw comments flying around. I'm trying to avoid the anything to do with the leak.
It's
Period.
hard to log on Twitter and avoid it. To be honest, there's
Yeah,
stuff
it was
floating
impossible.
around everywhere.
With the
Yeah.
comments are like quote retweeting, this and this doesn't look finished. I'm like, yes, it's not finished.
Right.
what do you
You're not
what do
supposed
you
to see this.
I mean,
what do you expect? Like,
I think it'll be really hard for us to sort of do that, but what we really need is like an equivalent of the mental awareness of like a green screen.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yes.
We need people to
Hmm.
understand that earlier in game development, games just look like that. And I don't know how we do that. It's probably like gray boxes
We
or
need to
something.
start to explain to people what dojos mean. Maybe.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
What the
yeah.
Maybe
J
we need to
exactly.
publish a lot more like gameplay in dojos from now on, so
Yeah.
that
And that material like exists behind the vault on GDC and in
But
select
GDC,
videos on YouTube, but like it doesn't like we don't the clients are not faced with it. That's the problem.
right.
It's like
Well, yeah,
other
but
devs
GDC
know.
puts it behind a $600 vault door.
Yeah.
Like they call it a vault. I'm still angry at that. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about some of the good things that happened this year in terms of games, because we still have time. We still
We have
have
time.
time.
We have time.
But if I
The game
base it
of
on
the
our
year have yet to be
previous
announced, right? Like it's coming out in the next week.
based based on the previous discussions on Game of the Year we had, we're going to be mostly agreeing for the first 40 minutes of this upcoming conversation, and then argue about the top two for 40 minutes. So
Sounds about right.
how about we just get started with some of our favorite games of the year? Like, not necessarily like, you know, top five, but like, how about this? How about each of us name some games that we think we all can agree on?
yeah,
Okay.
I could
Okay.
Okay.
do that.
Okay. How about Fauzi start?
I'll take the easiest one. Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that's top 10 material for all of us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's no way it's not right. Like
Yeah.
it is that is just an achievement. Let's talk a bit more about where, when, what. We think that's up there, but like, let me mark it in our super secret Habibis
Yeah.
um
Excel sheet.
Excel
Yeah.
sheet where we some of us spelled it differently. Boulder's Gate. Boulder.
That wasn't me. Everyone's
We're
gonna assume it's me. It's not me. I won't say who
this,
it is.
this
listen,
is
if
me.
if it's
I
not you,
keep doing
you
that.
just outed Fauzi here, Sam.
No, this is totally me. I
Okay,
keep doing
okay.
this.
Fauzi was just so excited.
I
Yeah.
want to go back and like misspell all the other games.
I just recently moved to iOS, and autocorrect is still learning.
Oh yeah,
It's still learning what I'm doing, and it's also like because when I type, sometimes I type one sentence would have 2 to 3 languages.
right.
So my
Yeah.
Yep,
keyboard really needs some time until it learns me, and in the
yep.
meantime, I just
Make
typo,
typos. Yep,
typo
Yeah.
for days, like on everything I write, tweets,
I
messages,
have that
emails.
amazing.
I have that problem. Like my keyboard will always, even when I type mostly in English, it'll always pick the French spelling of a
Right,
word all the time, like by default, except when I'm writing in French, and then I'll pick the
right.
English one. So it's
Every English.
perfect.
Yeah,
Osama, what's a
Yes.
game you think all three of us agree on?
All right. Spider-Man 2.
Okay,
yeah,
Is that right? Is
yeah.
it on
That's
all
right.
your lists?
It's
it's not on my
definite.
list.
No, Rami,
Uh,
combo breaker. All right, two
sorry,
out of three.
sorry.
I'm gonna color code these. I know nobody else can see the
Ronnie,
Excel sheet, but I'm gonna color code these.
especially after what Insomniac has been through, man. How could you?
Yeah, I know. But I want to be honest to them. Like, it's something about the Spider-Man games that just doesn't click with me.
And that's
And I
fair.
think we talked about it
Yeah,
on the episode where we discussed it. But there's just something about, I like the swing around the city, but it's not enough for me to like the game, and the combat doesn't feel like it fits for me. And that's
Interesting.
sort of been
interesting.
my
Okay.
problem with Spider-Man, is like it feels off from what I want from a Spider-Man game.
All right.
Um,
So,
but it's
so
clearly superbly made, right? Like
Yeah.
when I play it, I'm like, wow,
yeah.
very well done.
I think it's really, really, really polished, and there's too much.
Yeah, yeah, that too.
Yeah, that's my take. It's a great game. There's too much game. I
Right.
would have liked a little less game.
For me, I just felt like it's one of the few games this year that I had a hard time putting down the controller.
Yeah,
Well,
fair.
You know?
okay. Well, I'm gonna put Venba.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
should have said.
All
yeah.
right.
That one was
Okay.
in.
Okay. Good.
That's
Good.
on
Good.
mine.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, combo's back on then.
Yeah, combo's back on.
Fauzi, anything you think all of us agree on?
Cocoon.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Cocoon is very, very good.
We got 3 for Cocoon.
We did. Okay,
Mm.
Osama, don't get it
No
wrong.
combo break? Okay. Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
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 All right, good.
Yeah.
I got
You
a
got
3.
you got
Nice,
it.
you got it.
You got it.
Hi-Fi Rush is amazing.
It's a good game.
Run.
Hi. Is it my turn again?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh God, I can't say Destiny because it's not true.
Because we're not looking for our favorite games now. We're trying to
Nah.
match with the other people and see if we got it.
I think Osama, you mentioned you didn't play Alan Wake 2 yet.
I have not. No.
No, so that's out. Then I think all of us liked A Space for the Unbound.
Yes.
I didn't.
Oh.
You didn't like it?
It was a lot of reading. I didn't dislike it. I just like fell off.
Okay, all right. I broke the combo.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Mm,
So it's me
Fuzzy.
again.
Yeah.
Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes, of course.
You know, I was very close to not putting it on the list, but I did.
Oof.
I did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't wait
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that combo.
Yeah, that's going to be a conversation. I am prepared for this. I'm also prepared for when my game of the year list goes live to get a lot of opinions about that.
Yeah. Opinions is a lightweight to describe.
Yep. Mhm.
All right,
Okay.
my turn. My turn. Street Fighter 6.
Yes.
I actually have it on there. I'm normally not
Wow.
the biggest fighting game
I
fan, but
was holding my breath for Rami, but no,
yeah.
you got it too.
No, yeah, no, that was very
Oh.
very well done.
I
Okay.
feel like we're playing Wordle.
Yeah, right? A little bit.
It's like you guess.
Uh
You can guess the top 10 or go fish.
right. Dredge.
Yes.
I did not play it.
Oh, you're
Oh,
missing out,
you're
mate.
but you're also in for a treat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
I did not play
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Fauzi.
Super Mario Wonder.
I
Yep.
haven't played it.
Okay. We're getting to the point where we're not agreeing about things anymore, so that's good. Let's do one or
Yeah.
two more, and
But that's
then
also not a disagreement.
Yeah.
I just
no, I
haven't
know,
played.
but like
It's a
also it's
it's
hard
a
to
2 out of 3.
right.
Oh,
So we've
As long
had
as
the Game of the Years be in the top 3 before. So
yeah, it's
yeah.
true. Okay. What who voted last? It was
I
Dredge.
went
I think
with the
it's
Super
Fuzzy
Mario
now.
Wonder. So now it's
Oh
Sam.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
someone's
me.
turn.
Let's see. I don't know if there's any chance of Senar. Have you?
Oh, I love that.
Okay,
I
Fuzzy,
did
love
did
not
you
that.
play
play
it.
it?
I didn't
Ah,
play
okay, so we're at that.
Fauzi is
We're
in
that.
for a lot of indie gems.
it.
Um, um, uh, did y'all play the Karateka documentary?
No, I saw a video of it. It looks interesting. A
Yeah, it's
game
good.
documentary, but I didn't play
It's
it.
good. All right. All right. Well, Fauzi, did you play it?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. We're getting to the point where there's one. If all three of us get a one game, then I think
Yeah,
we're gonna move on to just discussing.
yeah. Because like at this point, like there are so many games that came out this year, and we all have a million things going on. I'm impressed that we played so many games on Comet. Let's be
Right, but also like we need to figure out what those games are
yeah.
to have a discussion.
Oh, I
So
agree. I agree. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I'm just saying this is impressive already
right.
because there's so many Game of the Year
So
contenders that
you
even
know our
just playing
top
those.
influencers are like the Habibis. Like I feel like if Osama says play this, I'm like
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
let's
that's
go.
true. That's
So
true.
we're
That's
kind of
true.
cheating a little.
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
little less impressed with us now.
Yeah,
Thank you,
yeah.
Rami.
Fauzi tweets about something or Fauzi talks about
Yeah,
something. I'm like okay, let's
that's
put
true.
that.
That's
Let's
true.
skip everything else.
Yeah, it's the
Uh,
same for me. When you guys
yep.
like recommend something, it'll be my
Absolutely.
moves on to the top of my
All right,
list.
Fauzi,
I
one more from you.
Oof. All right. Uh, should I? I know. The one of the two, one of you might have not played.
Yeah,
Screw
go
it.
for it.
Final Fantasy 16.
I
I
have
loved
not
it.
played.
I love that game.
Yeah, not me. I mean, not me play, not me love.
All right,
That
Osama.
just confused it more.
I have a complex relationship with this game.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Okay, so
Osama, one
me,
more from you.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
I bounced off of that very hard.
Uh, okay,
Yeah, I don't know why because I love the first one, but
but
I just bounced.
Fair. Okay. So no one. That's a combo breaker. That's what we were waiting for. The one where
Yep.
it's only one
Yep.
recommendation. It's not
All
on
right.
either of your
Well,
lists. Yeah.
from this point, then let's all of us add one game that we think hasn't been mentioned that really should be on the list.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
We have Alan
um,
Wake, right?
we have Alan Wake because Osama didn't
Yeah.
play it, but
Yeah.
But I think it
uh,
should be there.
two of us, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up Armored Core 6.
I did not play it.
Me either.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna mention it anyway. All right.
Fuzzy.
Fauzi,
Another
which one
game
should be which one
that
should be on there that we haven't discussed?
should be on there that we haven't discussed.
Uh,
Hmm.
it's hard for me to narrow it to one. I have two that I think
Okay,
should be.
we'll do two for you then.
Yeah, do too, Osama. I think I'm
Okay.
good actually.
All right.
Okay,
So my
All
two.
my big games are on there.
good.
So my two. One of them is called Cobalt Core.
Mm,
It's a deck building shoot 'em up, but it's turn based,
yeah.
and it is delightful. And I only found out about it very, very, very close to the end of the year, and really should be considered
I
for
have not played it.
top game.
Yeah, but
It's good. I had not considered it
Yeah,
as game of the year, but it's very fun.
is
very
that a
good.
combo breaker or will we move it up?
Um,
Let's just keep it in
yeah.
the let's keep it in the following. Like it is a very good game. So
Hmm.
My second, I don't know if it qualifies. Y'all tell me if it does or not. Golden Idol Mysteries, the two expansion DLCs.
Hmm.
They are magnificent, but one of them is called the Spider of Lanka, and the other is the Lemurian Vampire. It is they bring something new to the game, and yet feel exactly like the ones before, and are delightful and have good mysteries and really cool story. But does that count? Like combined, they're about the same length as Golden Idol Mysteries. They're almost a game, but they were released separately as two DLCs.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it's almost the same length. I didn't play
Yeah,
the DLCs yet. I love the original game.
yeah. I love the DLCs just as much.
okay, I think did we did Case Golden Idol win?
It was
Did
top
we do?
10.
It was
Yeah,
top
Yeah,
10
we
last.
mentioned it as top 10, didn't we?
yeah. It was top 10 last year.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I mean, it's not a bad thing to put it on there. It's a very good game, and any reason for people to go back to that is a good reason, I think.
Yeah,
Uh,
realistically, I don't think it'll make top 10 because I'm the only one who played it, and but still, I wanted to
right.
at least have it as an honorable mention.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, okay. So I'm just gonna list three games, and I'm gonna list them, but I don't think we're gonna seriously go further with them. But I do want to list them. I thought Turbo Overkill was surprisingly good, and I really really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
It is a very old school kind of game in a nice way. Very fast paced, shoot things. Very Doom, very Quake, very Duke Nukem 3D, very fast.
Hmm.
It just made me nostalgic. But it's really well executed,
I
and
did
it's
play that one actually.
kind
It was
of hard to execute those games well, surprisingly.
yeah, I did play actually Turbo Overkill. It was pretty good. I liked it
Yeah,
as well.
I had a great time with it. Then I want to mention Goodbye Volcano High,
Yes,
which I thought was really, really well done.
I agree.
Um,
The thing is, I have to abstain from voting for that one because I am friends with like the entire
the
development
entire
team.
company, yeah,
It's made in Montreal. It's like it's not even like one of those we're friends with everybody in the industry type thing. Like I'm close friends with a few
right.
people on it.
Many of those people,
Yeah.
yeah, I
So
can
it's one of those
100%.
like I cut out like
Yeah,
from
fair
consideration.
enough.
And the other one that I cut out from consideration is Sea of Stars because I somewhat consulted on it. So
Okay,
that
fair
would be
enough.
unfair.
Fair enough.
Somewhat what? Sorry, I didn't hear.
Consulted,
Consultant.
like,
Ah,
Yeah, I know the dev team. I'm in the credits of the Messenger. I think I'm in the credits of this one too, but wouldn't be surprised if I was. So it's one of those. I am somewhat involved in it.
Yeah,
Shouldn't
I
say
have
too
it on
much.
my list actually. Sea of
Yeah,
Stars.
Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. I have it. I have it too. Um, and then I wanted just quick shout outs. I think Chia and Thirsty Suitors, just as like good examples
yeah,
of the kind of games I want to see more of.
agreed.
Both of them for me, like not game of the year games per se, but definitely just like more of this, please.
Yes,
Much more of this, please.
yes.
Cool. Okay, then we have. I think we have a fairly good list of like. I'm gonna do maintenance now on the sheet. So y'all talk about fighting games or something for a minute while I figure that out.
so I took a glance at Rami's side and I fixed this. But not only did Rami have Street Fighter 6 on his list, he had it twice.
It was very good. It was very good. It's
But it's the only game you had twice. I didn't know if I should expect it on your list at all, and you had it twice.
yeah.
He has Turbo Overkill twice as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Never mind.
It's to me the thing about Street Fighter is I feel like I want to like fighting games way more than I usually do.
Yeah.
Like I really wanna.
I'm like that with RTSs. I love
Right.
RTSs, but I'm so terrible at them that I fall off them quickly. But I buy like every one. I play, I
Right.
play them all, and I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna learn any build orders. I'm just gonna play the tutorial and stop playing this practically.
Right. Yeah. So Final Street Fighter 6 for me was the one that made me feel like, okay, this one is made for me.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
thing that got to me about that game is then I talked to a lot of people that like fighting games and they were like, no, it's made for me.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait, it's made for both?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's made for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
That's
know.
incredible to me.
I
they
know a
took the
lot of
best
people.
mechanics from like Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter
Yep.
2, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and added new ones, and then they beautifully balanced all of them in like probably the best Street Fighter
Yeah.
ever.
Arguably the best Street Fighter. Like honestly, you can make that case. What is amazing about it is that modern controls really makes it approachable. And I know a whole bunch of like fighting game purists who have been playing two for a long time who switched over to modern controls, which is a thing I didn't expect at all.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't expect that either.
Yeah,
A lot of folks that play these kind of games are kind of
yeah.
purists at time.
Yeah, you know my friend Haytham, right? He came
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
podcast. You
yeah.
met him. We have been playing Street Fighter together since like we were 12, since we were
Right.
really, really, really young. And he switched over to modern controls.
Wow.
And it's shocking to me. Yeah, it's I didn't see that coming. No, no judgment, of course. He's
No,
welcome to
no, no,
play
no, no,
however
for
he
sure.
wants.
No,
I'm
it's
just
fine.
saying it's that good.
I want to do a shout out to Destiny 2,
Yeah,
just
feel
because I
free.
like that game. So I
Every
just
episode.
wanted to put that in there.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on because that's the only time I got to talk about Destiny 2 this episode.
Thank you. Shout out to Destiny 2.
Yeah, shout out to Destiny 2.
Shout out to Game Pass. We need to get like all the
Yeah,
new
yeah, yeah.
games.
It's all in there. It's all in there.
We haven't shouted out Agent Smith in a while either.
Yeah,
No, no. You know, we've been very polite.
yeah. Shout out to Agent Smith.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
If you hear me talk about fireworks, I mean fireworks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a list of 17 games for consideration.
They have Spider Man on there twice.
Oh, 16 games
Wow.
for consideration.
Wow. It didn't make his list, but it made our list twice.
Yep. Which, if you can take a quick check while I read them, if I'm missing anything. I have on our list, in no particular order, Baldur's Gate 3, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Hi-Fi Rush, Venba, Cocoon, Super Mario Wonder, A Space for the Unbound, Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Chants of Sonar, Cobalt Core, Armored Core 6, Karateka, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and the DLCs for the Golden Idol Mysteries.
Wait, what's Karateka? Did we talk about this?
Oh, it's a documentary. The
It's a
Karate
documentary game.
Ah,
It only
okay.
got my vote, but,
Yeah.
you know, it got
Not
my
the
vote.
original. That didn't come out in 2023.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No, the playable documentary of Karateka.
Yes.
It needs to go down to 10, and we need to order them.
Yeah.
So, shall we just start with like figuring out what doesn't make it? Because like I think this
We have
can be fairly
16.
quickly
Yeah, so we need to like eliminate 6.
6-ish.
Can't
I
we
Right.
feel
do that?
I feel like a lot of the games that can be eliminated are games I didn't play.
Uh,
Right.
so
So I don't know. Like I haven't played Cobalt Core, Armored Core, Karateka,
yeah,
mm, and the Golden Idol DLCs.
So
yeah.
does anybody want to make a case for them then?
I think it's very fair that Golden Idol DLC is cut because it's
Yeah.
DLC and it breaks
It's
the rules.
DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So even
Cool.
though I'm happy I mentioned it, yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
to remove it.
Okay. Cool. Um, I do want to make a bit of a case for Karateka.
Go for it.
Why it should make it. Um, because I think as an industry we have sort of like a large problem with like archiving,
Hmm.
and it's not a straightforward problem. Like games are not something you can hang on a wall or just put in a vault, right? Like they need to be playable. And what the Karateka documentary really does incredibly well, it is both a documentary, but it's also a playable documentary.
Hmm.
So they include playable versions of the game um, throughout throughout sort of like the documentary. You get to play like versions of the game as it develops. It has archive material, it has videos, and it
This
really
looks a lot
shows.
like Atari 50.
Hmm.
Yeah, a little bit. Just very focused this time. And one of the things I really liked about it is like, while it is a very good documentary, it feels like the first time the historical context of a game has been properly saved
Mm.
to anything.
I
And
really, I really hope they make a Street Fighter version of this. I would love
I,
to like, swap between the different types of Street Fighters live as they were being developed. Do learn
right.
so much from this. I
Well, so Digital Eclipse, as far as you pointed out, also did Atari 50. So this is sort of like an expansion on that idea. So I
Oh,
think this is what they want to do.
wait, what's Atari 50? I missed that.
No, Atari 50 was on my top games last year. It's basically a
Yeah.
museum,
Oh,
a digital
yes.
museum of all Atari games.
Yep.
Yes, I knew this. I just
Amazing,
forgot
yeah.
this.
So the Digital Eclipse is focused on like how do we preserve game history, and I think Atari 50 was cool.
Hmm.
I think the making of Karateka is the start of something really, really important. If they
Hmm.
can give more games this particular treatment,
Yes.
we will finally have a way to sort of like save video game history in a meaningful way. Obviously, these interactive experiences need to be saved, but um, it is a great step.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Yeah, they did the Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection as well.
Oh, that was them.
Yeah, that was them. Yeah, so now we're going
Oh,
through it. Like they've been at it for a while. I think they've just been perfecting their craft.
and I think
And
this is it. That's
yeah.
kind of the argument I want to make. Is like I think this is finally it. This is how
mm,
you preserve video games, not just the games itself, but also the people, the reasons, the
yeah,
context, why it was made, what it meant for the industry. Because obviously, Karateka is not necessarily the best known game,
yeah,
but
Mhm.
it did evolve into Prince of Persia,
yeah. I
right?
knew it, but
Mhm.
I'm a fighting game fanatic, so you're
Yeah, I
right.
played it a lot back then
Yeah,
as well.
Me
same.
too.
So
Yeah.
I want to make an argument for that one.
Okay, that's a good argument.
Right?
Um,
Is
I
it
think
top
it's
10 though, Rami?
Yeah, I think so. I think
yeah.
so.
In
I think
terms
it's
of because like top 10, we don't have criteria. Impact could be one of our criteria,
right.
and this is potentially impactful or meaningful, right?
I think it is industry changing.
Yeah.
So for me, yes, I think it deserves top 10.
I I feel that's great. Is it okay if we move on to other
Yeah,
games?
let's
Yeah.
go.
I'm okay with dropping Star Wars Jedi Survivor because it barely made my list and it didn't make anyone else's. The parts I loved, I really, really loved, but I honestly fell off it a few times and had to force myself to
What
play
did
it.
you love?
I really, really loved the battle,
The
the
combat.
boss fights, like combat, yeah,
Oh,
but specifically the boss fights.
yeah.
I thought that like it wasn't God of War where it was seamless between the cinematics. I really did feel like I was in a boss fight the whole time, but it felt I hate using this word. It felt real. It felt like the enemy had their own intentions in the fight and were not just choreographed.
There for you. Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Um,
cool.
I really liked the world building as well. What I didn't like, it was the same thing I didn't like in the first game. It was the level design. It was better this time, but I'm often just I I get into a combat sequence and I'm like, okay, where am I? Like just
Right.
a little bit more, make the goal clear. And I
Yeah.
know hand holding is a bad word right now, but in linear games, like feel you need it more than in open world games where you can go
Honestly,
anywhere.
Osama, it's one of the reasons I bounced off of that game because
Yeah.
like I really like the first what was it, Star Wars, the
Uh,
Jedi Order.
yeah, Jedi Order.
Yeah, I really liked that game. I had issues with it, but it was really good. I played through it. It was like, a week of me just playing every evening, and then I finished it. Um, and I had a great time with it.
Yeah,
And then with Jedi Survivor, I started and I played the intro sequence, and it starts with one of those like things go bad
yeah,
sequences.
yeah,
And like it wasn't long after that, and I just kept getting turned around, and I started
yeah,
seeing all the things I had to unlock and play through, and it just
yeah,
I don't know. I just bounced off. It was like another one of those, like, oh, here's an obstacle and you need to figure out how to get past it.
yeah. I
I was
agree.
like, yep, yep, okay,
It
cool.
was a game I fell off several times, but
Yeah.
there was enough for me to want to go back. So, like,
Uh,
this isn't about the perfect game. This is about
yeah,
our
of
favorite
course.
games, and there's a lot I loved about it. That's why. But yeah,
Okay.
no, that's a good contender for cut.
Okay.
Another one I could talk about is Cobalt Core.
Yeah.
I think it should still be considered because it's one of those games where it doesn't look all that special in screenshots. It doesn't do one thing completely new, but it is just a beautiful, it's a designer's game. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful elegance of combination of little things in just the right way that's never been brought together before. That
Right.
like I hats off to you, Cobalt Core. You did an amazing job. I'm sure that's not the name of the person who made it or the
No,
people
it
who
was
made it.
made by Rocket Rat. Rocket
Rocket
Rat.
Rat. Hats off
Yeah.
to you, Rocket Rat.
Yeah.
Like that was great. I think at the very least it deserves an honorable mention, but I would like it to be considered and not cut instantly.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I really like Cobalt Court. I actually hadn't considered it for the list, but like I think I don't remember who wrote it, but there was a review that said once more onto the breach.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Actually, Onto the Breach is wow. I didn't think about that. It felt that tight. You know how Onto
yeah,
the Breach the levels feel like they're puzzles that were
yep,
designed intentionally, but they're not. It's just like really, really, really tight systems. That's how
yep.
Cobalt Core
And
feels.
that's exactly it, and that's what I was really impressed about as well. Like I did really like that game. I hadn't considered it for my game of the year list just because I guess there's been so much good stuff.
So many, yeah.
But I have no objections to keeping it for now.
Excellent.
Okay. Let's see, Fauzi. Any game that you feel should be cut or could be cut that you put on there?
That I put on there and we can cut.
Yeah.
Um, as much as I hate to either, it's either Final Fantasy or Space for the Unbound of those games.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
I was not gonna object for the Space for the Unbound because I know that's a me thing. Like what was Disco Elysium is another one of those where I can tell it's really, really, really good, but my patience doesn't allow me to read games that is just text, text, text. I have a different space in my mind for that. So like it's one
Right.
of those I wouldn't object to. I and Space for the Unbound felt the same way, where it was. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know this is a weird quirk, but it's my quirk, and
Yeah,
it's
no, it's
definitely
okay to
related to my
it's okay to have a
ADHD.
quirk.
I can't play text heavy games like that. It's too much. I can't play them for too long sustainably. But I that's why I was going to just recuse myself and not make an argument for it. This is one of the rare games on our list here that I have played and wouldn't vote for because the rest I just didn't play. You know,
Right.
I can see like the shortcomings that Osama mentioned, but at the same time, like it's such a monumental game, not just for what it is, but also for like the Indonesian game dev industry.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I really loved it. It felt very genuine. And I think it was like Osama, one thing that might be good to know is that the game is not extraordinarily long.
Yeah,
Yeah, Okay.
it is like 12 hours, right? Like
Okay.
you're gonna be busy, but if you set aside like an hour every week or something, you can get through it, and you will find something very genuine
I believe it. I
in
have
there.
absolutely believe it. I felt the specialness of it, right? That's why I brought
Right,
up Disco Elysium. I know Disco Elysium is a masterpiece. I played maybe 6 hours of it.
right,
This I played, I think, 2 hours of it.
right.
But still, I could tell that it's really, really, really good.
Okay. All right. Let's keep it on there
Yeah, no objections.
because I would vote for keeping it.
And the other
Um,
one was Final Fantasy 16 that you were considering.
yeah, I really liked Final Fantasy 16. I think it's a flawed game. Okay, Fauzi, let's spar on this because I think it's a flawed game, but I would love to know why you think it's a flawed game.
I think the flaw, in my opinion, is that it is somewhere in between. It didn't. It
Yeah.
is like it didn't go too far in action or too far in RPG. It's in this weird place in between, where I feel
Mm,
like it's not completely satisfying for neither.
mm,
Yeah.
That's like my biggest like I think like the combat, like the Devil May Cry style combat is good, but Devil May Cry is a lot more complex and in depth and stylish and all of that.
mm,
The RPG systems are there, but they're not as you don't build characters and customize them in the same way that you would in previous Final Fantasy games.
Right.
Um, so it's like it's I like that they tried to take it in that approach, and I like a lot of things about it, especially narratively. I like a lot of things about it. But yeah, it's also part of the reason why it's flawed. A big flaw for me is their side quests, uh, which
Really?
which is at first just really odd side quests that by the end of the game become super important.
Right.
And it comes out of no, like in the beginning it's just really odd fetch quest, go to the end of the room, get me this item, and then like you walk, you get the item and come back, or like go serve food in a restaurant
Right.
mm.
5 times and then come back and you get like like it
I
was
like that though.
really odd side quests that I feel
Funny.
got super important at the end of the game.
I really like that. I think it was one of the like I think the only other game that really gave me the feeling of like having to build up the trust with people to like get actual jobs from them was Red Dead Redemption 2,
Mm.
which I think really nailed that. But like it felt like sure there's some exceptions, but like most of the characters didn't really trust Clive to start with,
Mm.
and kind of had to like figure out like they would welcome him into their middle, but not like love him or like trust him to just go do things. I
Yeah,
actually felt for me that landed really well. So that's kind of surprising for me.
yeah,
Uh,
the side
yeah.
quests at the beginning like really didn't land for me at all. But at
No,
the end of them, like came like became very important to the story.
yeah,
But at the
yeah.
beginning, felt very inconsequential.
Yeah, I think it's also because up until that sort of like um up until the tutorial ends, kind of everything needs to be non-consequential,
Yeah,
right? Because there's like a big story beat, like somewhere in the first third of the game that sort of like wraps up Act One.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I can see
It's
that.
such an odd game. Like
It is a very odd
I didn't like the
game.
exploration in that game. Yet at the same time, I really like the world of that game.
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, Final Fantasy 16 would have not been a contender had I not replayed it on New Game Plus.
Hmm.
Because I think that's really where the game like shines, and I hold that against it, obviously.
Hmm.
But it's also where the more Devil May Cry parts really like break through properly.
Yeah.
Like mix matching your dominance, your icon abilities.
Hmm.
Um, and like I don't know if you've played the recent DLC, Fauzi,
No, I haven't.
but the final battle of that thing is a sweat fest.
Really.
It is genuinely like one of the most fun fights I've had in any like that combat system
Hmm.
can do so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's limited compared to a Devil May Cry, but I think where it's sitting,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't find its confidence in being what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why it feels a lot like it's not one or the other. But I think there's a type of game here that is like less agency than an RPG, and less like spectacular than a Devil May Cry, but like a combination of the two somewhere in the middle that is really accessible. And I'm watching my mom play the third act of it now.
Mm-hmm.
And like the accessibility of the game is just incredible,
Mm.
right? Like that's the other part. Like I would have never imagined my mom playing a Devil May Cry style action game, but here she is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I know. I love that about this game. Like it scales in interesting ways. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I have mixed feelings about it. There's so much that's
I
good.
understand.
There's so much that's good, and there's so much that's weird.
Yeah. Fair enough. What do we do with it? If you vote against it, then I think we can drop it.
I don't know, man.
All
Like
right.
I feel stronger for it than some of the other stuff. But then again, I
Yeah.
didn't play Cobalt Core or Karateka,
Hmm.
Yeah.
so I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, let's keep it in for now.
Yeah. Keep it
Shall
for now.
we just talk about the ones that we know are gonna be there? At least
Yes.
like we know what we're fighting
Yeah, because
over.
I
Yeah.
think the only other one I would need to make an argument for, because neither of you have played it, is Armored Core.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find how I would explain to you why I like that game, but the honest story is I just really like big robots.
And that's all you
And
need, really.
this is the first good big robot game in a very long time.
Yeah.
It did a few good things. It has a Near Automata kind of like replayable story.
Oh yeah.
It has a really good sort of like new game plus mode where you keep everything you have, but the enemies don't necessarily get more powerful. So you start the game really struggling,
Hmm.
and you end the game with just like an unbeatable steamroller of a mass robot, destruction machine.
Hmm.
Um, it's very satisfying. It has like the slowest build up from like I'm not sure if I can do this fight to like, oh hey, that boss I played at the start of the game. Anyway, it's gone. Um, like there's this boss very early on that I think I tried 30, 40, 50 times, like Dark Souls like level of like try again, try again, try again, try again, try again. And then when I came across it in like my third new game plus round, I don't think it finished its spawn animation. Um, and that's very fascinating to me. It's very much about building the right mech for the right situation. That's very much what the game is about.
Hmm.
It had a really ugly difficulty spike when I played it, but apparently they smoothed that out since. I haven't confirmed that, but I believe it. So it's a strong like everybody should play it. If you like big robots and you like sort of like the tempo of, if you like the feeling of Dark Souls game, but you think Dark Souls is too slow, Armored Core is about like zip zoof like giant robots and then like sticking a giant laser sword down the arm of one, and then unloading 4,000 missiles. It's great. Strong recommend.
That sounds like fun, actually.
It's
It
so much
does.
fun. It's so much fun. But can I genuinely argue it should be in the same list as the other games? No, no, no. But you should play it. So okay, let's drop it. I'm dropping Armored Core 6. Neither of you have it, so
Yeah. That's
we're good.
I
we're
need to
gonna be
play it.
dropping a lot of games we love. That's what this is about.
Yeah, yeah,
I just wanted to mention I added Dredge to the list because both me and Rami had voted for it. We mentioned it and then we omitted it from the list for
yeah.
reasons. So yeah,
You know
it
what?
deserves to at least to be discussed.
Let's discuss it now then, Osama, because I have
Sure.
arguments in favor and I have really big argument against.
Okay. Well, how about you go first?
I loved everything about Dredge, but it is the most of all the games I've ever played. I don't think I've ever been more disappointed in an ending.
Ah,
Like never. It
okay.
like, and it's weird because Dredge sets itself up for failure through its successes.
Yeah.
There's no way they could have avoided it. It's a game that presents itself as one thing,
Mm,
kind of is not that thing,
hmm.
right? Um, it has this very uneasy vibe that sort of like builds up, but like any game with a mystery, at the heart of it, paying a mystery off at the scale that Dredge builds it up to, it's like trying to wrap up Lost, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
as a do.
Hmm.
I don't think they could have landed it.
Yeah.
What is it?
Uh,
What is this game?
so it's like, okay. Can
It's
I
yeah,
explain?
try it because it's a hard game to explain.
It is very hard. So you're a fisher person, like a fisherman, I assume, if
Yeah,
you're a man playing
yeah.
it, and I was, and you're in this. You start off on this island, and they tell you that there are like monsters and ghosts in the sea, so you can't travel at night. But the thing is, it's inventory management. The game, you go out and fish, and then you have to like Tetris the fish into your hold, like, and then come back. So when you come back is sometimes decided by you and sometimes not. So sometimes you're at this point where you're like, okay, it's almost nighttime, but I could just go get a few more fish. I could just, like, put it in my hold. And like, that is like the game. The game is about upgrading your ship, upgrading your hold, and upgrading the different fishing hooks that you have to get different types of fish. And in itself, that's satisfying because each fish has its own mini game, and you're also getting things that are not fish, like you could find different like salvage to
Hmm.
upgrade your ship. So that's the game. On the other side, that's also not the game. The game is a horror fishing game where there are
it,
these,
it is
like,
Alan Wake the Fisher game.
yes, exactly. There are all these eyes looking at you, like from the sea. There are these big monster fish that I'm not going to spoil right now. And there's this mystery that's overlapping all of it that is so well written.
Yep.
The reason I love this game, and I don't disagree with anything Rami said, the ending was lackluster. But the game itself was so much more the sum of its parts. Like, it's
Yep.
so elegant in how they were able to get so much out of a simple, fishing system, simple inventory management system, simple dialogue system, and a very simple, um, what do you call it? Like fish, like you're moving on the water on a boat
Yeah.
system.
Movement system. Yeah.
Traversal, yeah,
Yeah.
traversal is what I was looking for.
Yeah.
That that's the entire game is that,
What
and
is?
somehow it comes together in this epic thing that
Yep.
always makes you at the edge, like always, always a lot of
Yep.
anticipation and anxiety in some situations, and
It
delight
is.
when you succeed things.
I Fauzi, you played Alan Wake 2, right?
Yes.
I will say Alan Wake is incredible, but there are moments in Dredge that walk that anxiety line better than Alan Wake ever did.
Wow.
It
Really?
is it is bonkers. It is not as even
Yeah,
as Alan Wake 2, and it didn't stick the landing.
yeah.
I think the best way to play Dredge is to play it for like 97% of the game and then
Stop.
just pretend that you're fisherman like retired or something. Like because the the story just doesn't it they couldn't have done it. I don't know you I d-
I can't think of a
sometimes you look
word.
at a game and you say like, okay, the way you built this is flawless, and because it is flawless it could not work, and that's what Dredge is.
I don't disagree. The thing is, I agree with everything that you said. I didn't feel as let down by the ending because I honestly, the entire game was better than I expected. The ending was about as good as I expected of a game with those parts, which was a letdown. But
Right.
it wasn't like I was expecting something phenomenal. The entire game was about doing so much with so little that
Right.
when the ending was like, oh, it's pretty much what I would expect of a game of this budget, this size team.
Yeah.
I was kind of meh about it, but it didn't rob me of the experience of the rest of the game. It is still in my eyes, in many ways, it is a template for indies to follow. Do a lot with a little.
Yeah,
Um,
no, for sure.
yeah,
100% agree. It's just, don't try and stick the landing.
yeah, I don't disagree.
It's, yeah, it's weird. I think people who didn't finish Dredge like it better than people who did, which is wild.
I would
It,
not
it feels
disagree.
like it should stay like from the like I now
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
play
yeah.
it.
It is
It
special. It is
it
special.
is it really is. It is a remarkable game, and the only reason it is not discussed as much right now is just because there's so
So many
much
good games. This
incredible.
this would have been Game of the Year contender a different year. Contender, not necessarily winner, but like it would have
Yeah.
been because of how
Right.
in
Well,
the indie space and how good it
I
is.
want to put a game against it then for
Go.
discussion. I want to put Cocoon against it.
So I liked it more than Cocoon, and I
Yeah,
know this
me
is
too.
unpopular, but I liked it more than
No,
Cocoon.
I'm honestly same.
Yeah,
Which is why I wanted to put Cocoon against it because I think it is the most comparable game on the list.
yeah, but
Is
they're
Cocoon
good in opposite ways.
right? Exactly.
Like
I
Cocoon
can't.
is
Cocoon
like
is so
the anti-Dredge.
yes,
I can't see us have a list without Cocoon on it, guys.
but if you play Dredge, I think you would be able to see us having a list without Cocoon.
But
Because
I mean,
if you're comparing
I
those,
will take out other games, but not Cocoon. Cocoon
Right.
is
that's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
fair.
All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Cocoon is like for
Just
me
to
one
be
of the
clear,
best games that came out this year.
yeah.
just to make clear where we think Dredge approximately is.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
Cocoon is
Cool.
like top 3 for me.
Oh well, it isn't for me, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Well, how about Chance of Sinar then?
I haven't played it.
So I think it's really good, and I think if another year it would have been no brainer for top 10.
Mhm.
But like
Okay.
compared to so many of the powerhouses that we have on this list, I would cut it.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they had been a little more confident and skipped the stealth sections, it would be
Yeah,
top 10 for me. But like,
agreed. It didn't need
it
it.
just, it's a game that needed to be. It is a game that is very confident to do what it is, but then you can feel that they. This is a very game developer thing, but
Yeah,
when you can feel that they were like confident, but they faltered
yeah,
at some point, which is super understandable given the weirdness of what they were making.
yes,
Like, yeah, I get it. I get it.
yes. So
Okay.
we have 13 games. We need to
Yes.
be at 10. So there are
Yes.
3 more that we have to cut, and then we could order.
Which we have Baldur's Gate 3, Zelda, Hi-Fi Rush, Venba, Cocoon, Super Mario Wonder, A Space for the Unbound, Alan Wake 2, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Cobalt Core, Karateka, and Dredge.
Yeah, that's going to be really tough. But
That is going to be very tough.
so how about we each say 3 that we think should be cut and start there? Does that make sense? See if there's
Yeah, but
overlaps.
I don't think we're going to agree much. But
No, and that's
for an
okay.
experiment, like the beauty
Yeah.
of this is we never know how we get there. So
No.
like let's just poke at this. Let's be game designers. Let's iterate a bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's try and see 3 games that we think we should cut.
Yeah.
How about we do it? How about we each write them down now somewhere where the
Oh,
others can't
yeah.
see them,
Good. So,
like in a different thing, and then we'll just copy paste them at the same time.
oh,
and then
I
we'll
like
just
that.
We'll
I
see
like
what
that.
happens.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, hold on. I'm not ready. I have
Okay.
to make my decision.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not easy.
Y'all are gonna not like me.
Oh, that's fine. Y'all are not gonna like me either.
I have a feeling Robbie's gonna break the internet.
Yep. I have a feeling too. So everybody, we have the spreadsheet for everybody listening. We have the spreadsheet that all of us are looking at the same time, where we can like put things, and let's just all post them into our columns when we're ready.
Okay. So
Okay,
countdown. Is everyone ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
3,
All right, 3,
2,
2,
1.
1. Oh, interesting.
Okay, so we
Interesting.
have 2 overlaps. So
Yep.
that is at least 2 contenders, and we want to cut 3 total. So this is
All right.
better than I thought.
All right.
We, we shouldn't read Rami's out loud.
I am in trouble. I am in danger.
No, I think we should. I want
right,
to read Rami's out loud.
Okay, how about we each
I
read
want
somebody
to read
else's?
them out loud and then remind people that we have an email and they could send in.
Right. I will read Fauzi, Osama will read me, and Fauzi will read Osama. Deal?
Good.
Right. So Fauzi has Cobalt Core, which I understand, because
You haven't played
good
it.
game, but very hard to communicate why it is that good. I think. Karateka, which I understand the making of Karateka is a strange one, and A Space for the Unbound, which we just listened to Fauzi's reasoning there. So, okay.
All right. So I go Rami's. Is that how it works?
No, Fauzi can do Osama next.
Yes.
Okay.
Osama has Hi-Fi Rush, which I don't understand.
I'll explain.
Karateka, which I do understand. Cocoon, which I absolutely don't understand.
And Rami had Hi-Fi Rush, which I do understand since it was on my list too. Spider-Man 2, which I'm not surprised. Don't
Mhm.
understand, but not surprised.
Yeah.
And this one is going to what? Zelda Tears of the Kingdom?
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, that one needs more explanation.
I mean, I can explain it.
Yeah.
Um, you know how
But you know, you're not gonna convince us.
No,
Yeah,
I know,
it's
Yeah.
but I
not
do
gonna
I do want to
work.
make the argument. Remember
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my argument.
Okay. So you're
That's the
saying
argument.
that because it started off from Breath of the Wild, that it shouldn't be fully considered as its own
No,
thing?
I think Breath of the Wild was a superior game in pretty much every way.
Ah.
And
But
I think it's mostly because the you know how I have this thesis that second games are usually better,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
Because the first one is the one where they're experimenting.
mhm,
I don't think that's true for this iteration of Zelda.
mm,
I genuinely think Breath of the Wild was kind of the best game they could have possibly made out of this formula of Zelda,
mm,
and they did it. They did make the good video game,
mm.
you know. And then Tears of the Kingdom feels to me like there were some things that they also wanted to do, and then there were some mechanics that really kind of like worked out, and they just kind of played with it. But like ultimately, I was just so incredibly bored of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Wow.
Not even a little bit. Like I was bored to tears for parts of it, and I think part of it is just like a lack of like guidance. Part of it was just like too much world. Part of it was like I never felt like any like push or pull in any direction. It was very much like the things I loved about Tears of the Kingdom were the things I loved about Breath of the Wild,
Mm.
like the systemicness of it, but like even like the ultra hand mechanic and like all of that. I'm like, wow, this is really good. Anyway, um, and it never built to this like, oh wow, like it was wow in itself, but it wasn't wow in this like big coherent way. Like that ability to dive up through ground.
It's so good.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah. And it fits so well with having three layers of space that you could be in.
yeah,
But
also that, you know, the thing is,
Yeah.
Rami, like, I don't think I disagree with you in saying that Breath of the Wild is a superior game. For me,
Mm,
I prefer it personally, Breath
mhm.
of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom. But that does not mean that Tears of the Kingdom is not one of the best games that came out this year. You know,
yeah,
they're like
like
two separate arguments. Like
So
I
the
think so. But like for me, context is really important.
yeah.
And like for me, the context of Tears of the Kingdom, there is no other context than Breath of the Wild.
I
they did present new mechanics in
It
so
did
like the mechanics that they presented in Tears of the Kingdom is like unlike we've seen in the industry, not just in Zelda.
yeah.
absolutely,
And
absolutely
the multi-layer exploration that they've had in an open world game is also unlike anything we've seen in the industry, including in Breath of the Wild.
I
I'm not entirely
can't
sure that's true.
separate the two. To me, it's like saying which do you prefer, Kill Bill or Kill Bill Volume 2? Sorry, I'm dating myself for all you youngins who are younger than Kill Bill. But it's you can't have one without the other. To me, Breath of the Wild was great and incomplete. To me, Tears of the Kingdom is great because it builds on Breath of the Wild. I have a hard time because neither can exist without the other. Even Breath of the Wild. I
But
know people are like, no, Breath of the Wild did. It did with a question mark. Like it was an incomplete narrative with a few loose like threads that were
right, but it's a
intentionally left
Zelda
loose.
game. There's never a loose. There's always a loose end of Zelda,
It's
right?
true, I agree. But once you see the continuation, to me, it just melds into one. The
Yeah.
story continues. It takes off almost
But
immediately after the old one. Like
the, I
I
really like the story.
yeah.
Really like the story. Just like I was bored to tears of the kingdom.
And that's fair. Well, I'm not taking that away from you, but for me, it was the other way around. I looked at
Right.
this world that I loved with new lenses and
Yeah.
saw it differently. And I thought that was masterful. Like, I came back and now I'm looking at ceilings. Now I'm looking at little parts and trying to solve boss fights and puzzles in really delightful new ways. Was
Yeah,
it too much? I do agree. There was a lot, like the underground. There was a lot of it where I was exploring them, and after one point, I'm like, why am I doing this? But that was after I've already had the time of my life with the game.
that's
Like,
after I spent like 98 hours
yeah,
exploring everything else.
for me,
Right. Well,
this was almost 200 hours. I had a problem. This was my
I
problem.
spent like 20 hours in the underground just trying to find anything of interest,
Uh, yeah.
and I just didn't.
Yeah, it was
It's
less
like
interesting than the rest, but like the
right,
rest was so good.
right. But
Either way, like
so that's kind of my problem with Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Is like I feel like Breath of the Wild, whatever way you looked at it, it was good.
yeah,
It was good. It was different. It was weird, and what it did perfectly. And yeah, sure, you could have done more, but like it was Breath of the Wild. Nobody had ever done anything like this before, right?
yeah.
As Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, there's a lot of things I look at and I'm like, oh my god, that's really good. But for me, it didn't. Like, yes, I looked at ceilings, but did that ever feel like it really meaningfully mattered to anything I did in the game? Not really. I was still doing the same thing as in Breath of the Wild, just
But
different ways, and now I had to do it thrice as much. And it didn't click for me. So
it's
that's why
okay.
Zelda
That's
Tears
fair.
of the Kingdom for me.
Yeah. Um,
Anyway, don't hate me, internet. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no, it's all good.
No, no,
Did
not
you
you
want to
guys.
talk
I know
about
you all
Spider
love
Man
me.
2 as well, or did you already have your rant about that?
I mean, Spider-Man 2, like it honestly, it is not dissimilar from my feeling on
Yeah,
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. It is so much. I have a love for Spider-Man, but I have very little love for the setting.
uh,
Like the space is like, yeah, okay, great.
uh.
Well, I've been there, seen that a million times. Like, I played Crisis. Um
But
like,
like this New York is a good New York. You
oh,
walk
it's
down the
it's
street, you
it's
see a lot of cool things. I
sure.
actually the what you were describing of Tears of the Kingdom is more what I felt with Spider-Man 2, where
Right.
I felt there was too much. The difference is Tears of the Kingdom had too much optional, and Spider-Man 2 had too much that they forced me to go through when I
Right.
just wanted to get to some other parts that I liked more about the game. I completely understand that this is subjective. Like the narrative moments, I wanted to pull my hair out. I don't have hair, but you get the idea. Like I'm like, please, do I really have to do this little action interaction thing that I don't want to be doing, like flying a drone around and shooting, bee robots
What,
or what?
you don't like Watch Dogs? Wow.
But like those little things like that, there were so many of them, and they were just
Yeah.
like someone else out there is going to say the opposite. They're going to be like, "Oh,
Right.
Spider Man was amazing. There were so many really cool things." It's a player persona thing, and
Sure.
like it moved. Spider Man one and Spider Man Miles Morales were made for me, and with the exception of the Mary Jane stealth missions, which are better in Spider Man two, by the way, because they're more interactive and they are
Mhm.
better. They're just not good, but they're still better.
They're still not for you.
They're still not for me, but they're more for me. They move towards me a little bit,
Right.
and the rest of the game moved further away from my persona. Which like
Right.
the things I liked about it occupied less of a space. So I understand if you're saying something similar for Tears of the Kingdom, where there's a lot, and you like the tightness of Breath of the Wild more. I get that. For me, that was
It
Spider
wasn't
Man
even
2, where actually, even though it was one of my favorite games this year, I liked it less than the two Spider Mans before it
right.
because it was more,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Fauzi, you have been quiet in that way where I worry you have something very smart to say, and I'm
Oh,
just gonna feel less smart.
go
No, no,
go.
I've heard your arguments on Spider-Man 2 before.
Yeah.
Um, but for me, like the execution of the game is just so incredible. Like I really enjoy the combat. I really enjoy being Spider-Man. I love the small touches within the city, and like ultimately, it's just a lot of fun. You know, like ultimately, I couldn't stop playing. Like when you were talking about like how in the underworld and Tears of the Kingdom, you know, you got bored. This is like the opposite, you know, and like in which like
Right.
it's it's impossible not to. Like if you swing around the world for 2 minutes, there's like a million things for you to do, and they're all like fun.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have one more on your list, Army, that we could talk about.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
both want to
I,
cut Hi-Fi Rush, which is quite
yeah.
surprising for me.
I'm surprised that I wasn't alone in this. Actually, that
I
was a
honestly, I
surprise.
had the same. I had the
Yeah.
same. I looked at it. I'm like, oh, that was because I thought I'm just gonna get wrecked for all three choices. But it's nice that it's only 2 out of 3. You know.
So actually, Hi-Fi Rush was one of my favorite games this year. It just was uneven, and I'm nitpicking on a thing, but it bothered me a lot.
Hmm.
I love the premise. I love the art style. The use of rhythm in a game is one of the best I've ever seen, if not the best I've ever seen.
Hmm.
And the 3C mechanics didn't do it for me. I didn't like
Yep.
the height of the jump, the distance of the jump. I never got used to it, and like throughout, I just could not get used to it. I'm like,
That's
you
funny.
nailed the landing on so many things that were feel and failed on a few things that were core feel, and that it was the unevenness of it that makes it like potentially top 10 for me, but like lower end top 10, and that's why
Yeah,
that's
I actually very similar, Osama. Like, I mean, like obviously, like can't talk about that game without talking about the audio,
yes,
which was incredible. Feel was incredible. Vibe was incredible. Like, I'm really happy that this year has a lot of like vibe based
yeah,
games,
Hmm.
which I'm very happy with. Um, and there was a lot of good there, but yeah, I kind of the same. Like the sort of like core 3C's camera character control.
yeah,
Um, it just didn't never like really connect the way I hoped they would.
yeah. I missed
So that
jumps that I really, really, really thought I was
really
gonna
thought I
miss.
would. Yeah,
Yeah,
same.
all the
And
time.
like I'm okay with feeling like I'm bad at games
Yeah,
because games like that I am bad. I'm not a fighting game expert like y'all. Like I'm not a I will nail every action I take in a game kind of person. But like I felt like I deserved better than that.
mm.
In on a lot of
I
jumps,
wasn't blaming
a
myself
lot of
when I felt the
actions.
jump. I blamed the game, and that's not
Yeah,
usually me. I default by being like, "I'll do better," and this time I'm
right.
like, "No, no, no! I should have gotten that at the
Yeah,
beginning."
that I deserve to land that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So that was it.
Fauzi.
It's not the biggest scathing, review,
No, it
but
was a
it
good
was,
game.
yeah, it was
Was
a
I
great
was
game. It just
Well,
I
missing
spent
that.
I spent more time than I thought being annoyed.
Yeah, same.
what I like about Hi-Fi Rush is I feel that it really, I think it's the first rhythm game that doesn't punish you if you don't have rhythm.
Yeah, yeah.
You
But
know,
Rami, I mean, sorry, Fauzi, you're the worst person to make that comment because you have so much rhythm. You're a
You have
musician.
rhythm.
Like, how would you even know this?
Fauzi is theorizing. Okay, this is a theoretical thing because
Now,
Fauzi doesn't have practical experience with
guys,
it.
as
believe it
someone
or
who
not,
has no
sometimes I
rhythm,
can.
I can actually confirm this. But you need me to
He's right.
confirm this.
I can't land every combo on tune. Like there were some times in which I was out of rhythm. Believe it or not.
I don't believe it, but it's fine. I'll
I
allow
don't
it.
believe it either. Yeah.
I'll allow it.
But I like the design of that. I like the I like the design through. I like that it's not designed through punishment.
Yeah, I agree.
You
Yeah.
know, and I respect that. So like when you nail the combo to the rhythm, you get rewarded. But if you don't, you can still enjoy the game.
Yeah,
So that for me is really interesting. I really like the tone and feel of the game, like how a lot of objects in the game are kind of like dancing to the rhythm.
yeah,
Like a lot of things around you make sure that you are within the rhythm of the game. I think that's fantastic. And there was a lot of moments in which I was really laughing at the narrative of the game because it's like tongue-in-cheek stab at game dev,
hmm
you know,
Yeah.
with like yeah, some jokes that land way too close to home than they need to be. um, and it just came out of nowhere for me. Like
Mhm.
I just heard of the game, played it in the same day, was blown away, and all in one evening.
That's fair, and that was the case for me too. Like I was like, "Oh wow, this looks cool. I wonder what it's out now. What?" And next thing
Yeah.
I knew, it was in my hands, and I'm playing it, and it was better than I imagined, and like that was phenomenal. Like that was really
Nice.
good.
Yeah, that was nice. Well, I have a question then because Osama, I think it's we have 2 votes for Hi-Fi Rush.
Yes,
Yeah,
Um,
I like.
and
I'm sorry, Fozzy's gonna hate me, but I would still cut it. Like compared
yeah,
to the other games on this list, like the failure of the 3C is is enough
it's
for
a
me to
lot.
be like
It's a
drop it.
lot for a game
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I mean, like
Okay.
I think it's worth. We made the case for it, but
yeah,
if it's 2 votes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
we go with democracy. It's gonna be on my top 10 for sure.
Yeah.
No,
No.
I'm removing it from yours too. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That was a host now.
Sorry, Habibi rules. Osama just killed it. Then we have 11 left.
yeah.
And we had the Karateka also have two
Yeah,
votes.
Karateka
Yes.
is is gone.
So
Yes.
Karateka is gone.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what Karateka is doing, but I feel that
Yeah.
yeah, it's very similar to what Atari 50 did for an entire
Yes.
Right.
console.
Yeah, but also no. I do think it's very different from that in that it is intimate, and 50 was not.
Mm-hmm.
50 is like a nostalgia museum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Karateka is like it's play it, play it
Okay.
early next year. Inshallah, tell me what you thought.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Well, with those two gone, with Karateka gone, and with Hi-Fi Rush gone, we have 11 games left. The
Yeah.
five games that are still up for discussion in the which ones do we cut are two that are never going to get cut because I'm not going to convince y'all that Spider-Man 2 or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom have to go.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to
I
give
mean,
up on that.
maybe. Don't cut
Okay,
them out yet. Like I
okay.
mean, Zelda: The Tears of the Kingdom. I don't think so. Spider Man, like you might convince me.
I have a
Listen, if
crazy suggestion.
okay.
We cut Super Mario Wonder.
Interesting.
Ooh,
Nobody mentioned it
Yeah.
on their list
ooh.
of potential cuts.
Okay, leer it.
So, so I like a lot of what Super Mario Wonder did. It's very charming. It's a lot in the spirit of 2D Mario games. There's some really nice new power ups that are quirky. There's an interesting approach to the levels in which, like when you're the like in your when the levels turn into like a bizarre version of themselves and you get the seed. I think that's cute and charming.
Hmm.
But there's a bunch of things that um, hmm. First of all, I think that as good as the level design is, it's not as groundbreaking as 2D Mario games have before. I felt
Mhm.
that the level design is good, you know? So that was a big part of it. When I played it in co op, it's much better than a lot of 2D Mario games from before that, but it still feels like a game that is designed for one player more.
Hmm.
And in
Yeah.
co-op, it tends to get a lot more chaotic and tends to piss you off
Yep.
against the people that you're playing with. And
I
I
stopped
thought,
playing it co-op very quickly.
yeah, I thought they got like a lot of good mechanics from Rayman Legends to use in this game. You know, like when somebody's
Yeah.
behind the turn into a bubble. It's literally
Mhm.
the same as Rayman
Yeah.
Legends, and
Mhm.
you can go towards the other character and then they can revive you.
Mhm.
Um, so they had some stuff like that that really enhanced the co-op gameplay compared to like the previous to the Mario games. But it still felt like when you're playing in co-op that they're ruining your game for you, or like they're
Yep.
they're messing up your rhythm more than they're helping you out.
Mhm.
But I will say, Fauci, as a single player game, I completed it, including all the special levels.
Yes, the
Right.
same.
So
Yeah, I could
I
not put it down. So
same.
it's also why it's on my top 10. Like it's so charming, it's so funny. It made me laugh out loud multiple times as I
Yeah.
was playing it. And as a single player experience, it was loads of fun. But if I look at like a lot of the other games on this list that are really like things that we've never seen before, Mario Wonder has very little things that we've never seen before.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's fair.
What do you think, Osama?
I haven't played it, so it's between you two.
Oh, I hope you had an opinion.
How?
Because all right, so here's the thing. Like, I really didn't think like the first few hours of Mario Wonder, Yafauzi,
Hmm.
I really didn't think it would make my top 10 list.
Yeah.
It really didn't. But it was like I think like a third in when they started being a little like weird and wonky with the levels, and like there were levels that were just completely different mechanics, completely different like ways of playing. Some of the little break levels, like I think the only levels I never ended up liking was like the little search levels.
Yeah.
I never ended up liking those, but like everything else about the game, there was always like a little delight or a little nod or a little wink or a little like,
Hmm.
hee
Yeah.
like
That's part
there
of the
was always
brilliance of the game is that
yeah.
they know what you're gonna do or feel in a certain section, and they give you a wink.
Right.
Mm.
And it's very little that the flowers were very, very rare that the flowers did not land for me, you
Yeah,
know?
they always
Or like,
landed. They're so funny.
yep.
Mhm.
There were a few secrets that I thought were too hard or like not necessarily fun to find.
Mm.
But beyond that, I got every coin and every wonder seed.
Yeah.
Not every flag. That was ridiculous. I refuse.
Mhm.
But every coin and every wonder seed, and I played most levels like 3 or 4 times to get that done. And I never really got bored of it.
Hmm.
Like I had a good time throughout.
Yeah, I never got
Uh,
bored of it either.
is
But
that a good enough thing for Game of the Year though?
that's the thing.
That's the question. The thing that makes me have a hard time with this is there are 2 games on this that did bore me at points on the list that we still have.
Oh,
Um, Now, obviously, Zelda is one of them.
Yeah.
and
But
Spider-Man
Um,
2 is, for
yeah.
me, there were moments where it bored me. So
right.
that, yeah.
But I also wanted to add I had moments where I was bored in Cocoon.
Yeah, me too.
So that's kind of like the 3 where I'm like, yeah, but like I kind of understand Zelda and Spider-Man. Probably hard for me to argue. Cocoon, I could make an argument for, I think, but I also very much understand that Cocoon was an accomplishment in tight design,
Yeah.
and I do also want to sort of like reward that from us. So
I agree.
I don't know. You know what I can go with Super Mario Wonder. I can go with dropping that off. It hurts a little, but
It's either that or Cobalt Core for me, like from the
mm,
11 games that are remaining. Because I can't see a list without the others.
That's fair. And Cobalt Core, to be honest, it is one of those games you have to play to see how good
yeah,
it is. Like,
yeah.
really think Into the Breach. You know how
Yeah, I
tight it
love
is?
Into the Breach.
All right,
Yeah.
let's go Super Mario Wonder. Tamam.
All right,
Done.
let's do it.
10 left.
Good.
It's,
We
it's
have
tough for
10.
me because it's like, it's definitely on my top 10 list.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, but it's not the Habibis top 10 list
Yeah.
that is going to make.
Now it's the order. How do we do this?
Yep.
We have several options. One is we could go off on our own, reorder this, and then come back with our order and then discuss. How does that sound?
And I think as we make this
All right.
list, let's wrap it up for this episode. It's been going for quite a while now.
Yeah. I mean, if you let me talk, I'll keep talking.
We could go for a very long time, I think. But
A cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, the first
Ooh.
is this the first Habibis cliffhanger?
It's the first Habibi
I
cliffhanger.
guess
I believe.
so, yes.
First Habibis cliffhanger. Well, I think we'll post the second episode of the Habibis 2023 list near the just at the end of the week, like right before the new year.
Sounds
Inshallah.
fair to me.
Inshallah.
Let's
Add
make
the,
that happen.
add the
Inshallah.
obligatory inshallah.
Inshallah. Well, then for this episode, yeah, that was it. If you have thoughts, if you have guesses, if you want to put some votes towards your game of the year, or let us know which games you thought were most were your game of the year, do let us know. info@thehabibis.com. Also, feel free to make any predictions for what the biggest fights of our, of our game of the year list is going to be, because I have a feeling there are going to be some things that we will not agree about. You have
Yeah.
you have any ideas? You think there's going to be some fights, or are we going to have a very smooth Habib's 2023 this year?
I mean, no, there's no there's no world where it's gonna be smooth. That's part of the fun. It's in the friction, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Fauzi, you any predictions?
It's gonna be a really good game. That's gonna be the game of the year.
The safest of bets.
Yep.
Good. Well, for now, join us. Discord.thehabibis.com, email info@thehabibis.com. For now, see you next episode after the cliffhanger, the Habibis game of the year. Salam.
Salam.
Salam.